So just to do a recap for anyone that's now watching that wasn't watching previously, Sue, my friend Susie's here tonight. Yeah, looks like I've got real friends after all. I love saying that because I talk about ghosts and spirits all the time. You know, and whenever I do my videos, etc., I'm always just sitting here by myself anyway. So it is good that somebody's here, you know?
Yeah. Super.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's crack on.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at the ghost chair.
Yeah.
And tell me your thoughts on the ghost chair. So
yes, definitely.
Let's run this.
Let's go there.
Okay, here we go.
This eerie footage, uploaded to Facebook on the 11th of October 2017, was taken from an after-hours security camera at Cronies, a restaurant in Southern California. The clip shows one of the bar stools as it begins to move, then suddenly it tips over. The creepiest thing about the video is that nothing else seems to move. This has led many viewers to suspect paranormal activity. Then, less than a week later, this startling clip was uploaded to the restaurant's Facebook page. This time, the incident occurs in the middle of a room full of hungry diners. Without warning, one of the chairs begins to tip backwards, as if there's a ghostly presence sitting in it. Several patrons witness the bizarre disturbance, which bothers one of them enough to actually get up and check the chair. The startling footage even made the news, where some noted the perfect timing of the events, which occurred just weeks before Halloween. This led several skeptics to suggest that it might have been staged in an attempt to attract extra patrons to the restaurant. While this is possible, the fact that we see one of the diners examining the chair in the second clip suggests that it could indeed be genuine. Many viewers also seem adamant that the events were caused by something supernatural. Even the bar's co-owner thinks that there could be at least 2 resident ghosts in the building. He blames the place's original owners, Ralph and Don, adding, whenever something funny happens, it's their fault. So what do you think? Is this Californian restaurant really haunted by ghosts, or is there another explanation for the mysterious movement of the chairs?
Well, I don't know about you, but I think considering the restaurant had people in it there at the time, that would be a hard one to try and hoodwink people with. Because if there was strings there, then that would easily have been found.
You know, this sort of reminds me of a magic trick I saw where it's a pool party with about 30 people and you've got this man who just walks off the edge of the pool and he just walks across the top of the water.
Right, yeah.
Everybody in that pool, everybody running around at that party were all in on that trick.
Yeah.
Because it's like a plastic sheeting where he walks across and there's people actually swimming under where he's walking. So they had to be in on the trick, okay? Do I believe that they would set that up when people are in there eating their lunch? It could be a film set, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I looked at it and I looked at it and I looked at it like I do when we have these videos. And I can't see any way that it could be strings or pulleys. Because she actually moves the chair afterwards. Yeah. So I think this is real, you know. This is a real video that we just saw.
Yeah.
You know, based on the fact that there is one thing that did bug me, Mike.
Right.
That table where the chair was the only table with nothing on it.
Right. Should we have another look?
Go and have another look, because it's the only table.
This eerie footage, uploaded to Facebook on the 11th of October 2017, was taken from an after-hours security camera at Cronies, a restaurant in Southern California. The clip shows one of the bar stools as it begins to move, then suddenly it tips over. The creepiest thing about the video is that nothing else seems to move. This has led many viewers to suspect paranormal activity. Then, less than a week later, this startling clip was uploaded to the restaurant's Facebook page. This time, the incident occurs in the middle of a room full of hungry diners. Without warning, one of the chairs begins to tip backwards, as if there's a ghostly presence sitting in it. Several patrons witness the bizarre disturbance, which bothers one of them enough to actually get up and check the chair. The startling footage even made the news, where some noted the perfect timing of the events, which occurred just weeks before Halloween. This led several skeptics to suggest that it might have been staged in an attempt to attract extra patrons to the restaurant. While this is possible, the fact that we see one of the diners examining the chair in the second clip suggests that it could indeed be genuine. Many viewers also seem adamant that the events were caused by something supernatural. Even the bar's co-owner thinks that there could be at least 2 resident ghosts in the building. He blames the place's original owners, Ralph and Don, adding, whenever something funny happens...
Yeah. So we had a pub in an Essex town in England here that had the resident ghost, the old landlord. I don't know if you remember the electricians and the plumbers were working there and the swing doors decided just to flip open.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
well, what goes through the mind of a ghost when they're going to move something? You know, he may have just wanted to be sitting down and being a part of the interaction with the other patrons. You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
But if you've got to listen to the story where the guy says that the hotel manager or the owner, he's pretty sure that there's 2 ghosts there. So I want to hear what his stories are. What has he heard?
Yeah.
What has he seen when other people aren't there, when the cameras are obviously turned off?
Right.
You know? So I'm pretty sure that, most people don't like advertising that they've got a haunted location because it does turn people away.
Right.
Pubs, especially, people do get scared. They wouldn't want to go there if it was a haunted pub. So for the pub owner or the manager to actually come out and say, oh, yeah, we've got 2 ghosts here, I think that's the little bit of information that makes me think this is real.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are there when other patrons aren't there.
Right.
They see and hear the knocks and the slides of the chairs and things when no one else is there to do it.
Right. Right. Okay. Alrighty. Well, what about this next one? The ghost horse. We've had a few animals before.
Yes.
Quite an interesting one. I did have a picture of it, but everything seems to have gone crazy on this particular episode where I blew the picture up. But let's just take a look at it. Let's see what you think. And I'm sorry, people watching this, but I just can't see your comments today. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The ghost horse.
Okay.
Among the uproar of Arab Spring, startling footage emerged that seemed to show a horseman of the apocalypse. During the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, mass protests took place in Tahrir Square. Thousands marched the streets to fight against, among many things, police brutality, corruption, and a lack of political freedom. During the demonstration, an MSNBC camera was broadcasting live to the United States. In the feed, you can see a mysterious yellow figure. It looks to be someone riding a horse. It's translucent and has a wavy quality to it. The entity glides along, then dissipates into thin air. When the footage aired, it caused quite a stir around the world. Viewers were at a loss to explain what was happening. There are several theories that try to explain the mysterious yellow horse rider. The most prominent theory suggests that it's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Given the surrounding social upheaval that was taking place during the Arab Spring, many thought the figure was one of the harbingers of doom as prophesied in the last book of the New Testament. Revelation 6:8. I looked, and behold an ashen horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following with him. Authority was given to them over 1/4 of the earth, to kill with sword, and with famine, and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Another theory suggests that it could be the spirit of an ancient Egyptian warrior that was summoned by the violence and uproar of the protests. Some thought it was an angel sent to bring peace to the demonstrations, while others thought the opposite and believed the figure to be a demon arisen to cause anarchy on the streets of Cairo. Of course, more level-headed viewers suggested that it was a glitch in the camera or an overlapping of concurrent feeds. So what do you think? Was it simply a glitch or a prophecy coming to fruition? Love to hear your opinions on this one in the comment section below.
Well, I don't know about one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. It does go to show you how a narrator can lead a train of thought in a certain direction. And this is why I tend to look at these with no sound at all.
Yes.
But what do you think, guys?
Well,
girls,
let's go to Sue.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You
Sue?
have-
No, I like to investigate things.
You
Okay,
have a
so
discerning
first of
eye.
all,
Yeah.
First of all, what I think of is straight away is revelations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, I've had discussions with Linda beforehand and discussions with an alchemist. And basically, my thing was you can't have a prophecy come through exactly hundreds of years later unless it's driven man-made also. So
Yeah.
my question there is, what's behind it? Could that be a little holographic thing?
Yeah.
Technology
Yeah.
to actually back up the revelations.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I actually thought about a hologram because if we're going to put Jeff's thing in next week, I'll put in a little clip of something called Pepper's Ghost, how they create ghost effects in the theatre from way back when.
Yes.
And it's very
Yes.
easy to do, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody in that video there going, oh my gosh, what the hell was that? Everyone was just strolling around minding their own business.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
No one's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
everyone's hands would be up.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like in there, Mike, is that it's behind the fence.
Right. Yeah.
So if it's a hologram, though, you'd still be able to see that fence through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the one thing in that really lets me know it's fake is the colour of
Right.
what out looking like a real horse with a real, like a chariot with the rider. Why is it that golden yellow
It was a green, wasn't it?
or a greeny lime or,
Yeah.
why the colour?
I'll just
You know?
put it on.
Is out there, we're also proving what people make
Mm.
to put out there. You know?
Do you know what I'd do? I'd put a challenge out to anyone out there to try and recreate something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how many creative CGI people there are out there.
Jeff can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, if Jeff's watching, you know, I'll get onto him later, darling, and just say, hey, did you watch our show tonight? Because we had technical issues again.
Yeah.
He'll probably laugh at that one, obviously. But yeah, you know, but still, it's interesting to have these on the show where we do sort of debunk them and we try and find out what is actually true out there. You know, because we all know it's true. There are true experiences of ghosts, spirits, angels, the D words.
There was someone that sent through a message saying that there's a white orb on the left. Linda, there's a white spot following the horse on the left. It follows the horse. Looks fake to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Ian, thank you so much for what you just said. He said that there's like a white orb at the end of the horse that's following it along as it goes.
Look for the small white orb, which is exact same speed as the horse on the left.
Okay, let's go and have a quick look.
So, Ian.
Yeah. Well, Ian, all I can say, it must be those fabulous breakfasts that you keep having that I see on Facebook. That's obviously doing something to keep you observant.
Well, you know, when we look at a video, you don't just look at the paranormal part like before when you saw that chair turn down. You've got to look up the top corner. You've got to look down in the left bottom corner. You've got to look at everything in that room or event that could be adding to that paranormal existence happening. So Ian, good call there, darling. Thank you so much for seeing that one. Brilliant, brilliant, because that adds value to the fact that it's fake. It's been superimposed on the screen.
Super.
Okay, that's all good. That's what we do here. Mike, you know, we have shown real stuff, we've shown fake stuff. And it's
so that's been debunked.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got a lovely story coming up now. Angel 911, I called it. And what's beautiful about this story is that, you know, without doing a spoiler alert, remember this girl is 3 years of age. And the competence in which she speaks in itself is supernatural, in the real sense that it's more than natural, it is supernatural. So let's run over and look at this and see what you guys all think about it. Here we go.
Absolutely.
She hurt her head. She hurt her head? Yeah. Does she need an ambulance? She does?
Kendra immediately dispatched an emergency unit to the scene.
Yeah?
You have to come over and get her, and then you have to fix her head.
Okay, is she bleeding?
Yeah, she got to bleed on her head.
She's bleeding on her head?
Yeah.
How much is she bleeding?
I was getting very nervous because I didn't know what had happened.
Is your mom breathing, do you know?
No, she died real bad.
She died?
That really concerned me when she kept insisting that her mom had died.
Does it work?
And at one point I really got very nervous that maybe that might have happened.
Dying.
I cannot imagine a 3-year-old looking at their mom and wondering, and really saying that she was dead.
Was he drugged in there?
It must have been very scary for her.
Just a little?
It was at that point that Kendra learned that there was someone else in the house.
It looks like a silly man, but...
It looks like a silly man.
She talked about a silly little man that was in the room with her, and I wasn't sure who she was talking about, if she was talking about if there was another person in the house that may have done this to her mom, that had come back to do some more to her mom.
Okay. Where's your dad at, Brett?
Part of the reason I asked if Dad was around is if he was the silly-looking man that she was talking about, or if Dad could help. And she told him no, that he was at work.
He's sick?
There very well could have been a perpetrator in the house.
Moments later, the rest of the paramedic team arrived. Luckily, David Austin was among them. Brittany recognized the man who'd taught her 911 and finally opened the door.
Hi! What's going on?
Dispatch?
Uh-huh.
This is Lee with Clifton Rescue Squad.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I was very relieved once the rescue squad got there, because I knew that my job was over and that the people that needed to be on scene were there.
From evidence at the scene, they were able to piece together what had happened. While feeding her children breakfast, some baby food spilled on the floor, causing the young mother to slip and hit her head during the fall. Her condition was serious. She had already lost a great deal of blood and her brain had begun to swell.
It was a very good thing that the little girl called 911 when she did, because the longer a head injury goes without being treated, the worse that it can be. She could have possibly had a stroke or been brain dead in a matter of hours.
Robin McElfresh was rushed to the hospital, where she was diagnosed with a severe concussion and treated for her injuries. When her husband Lee arrived, they both learned what a brave and miraculous thing Brittany had done.
When I woke up in the hospital, a nurse came to me and said, "Wow, your daughter saved your life." And I said, "No, I'm sorry, you're wrong."
When they told us that our daughter, 3.5 years old, had dialed 911, my wife and I both were in disbelief.
And they said, "No, we've got her on tape, it's her." And I just thought they were wrong. She was only 3, she's very little. I just thought that was impossible, but it wasn't.
You saw an angel? And what did it look like?
But just how truly miraculous that day was only became clear when Brittany told her parents that the silly little man she mentioned to the dispatch operator was actually an angel.
And we said, "What silly man, angel?" Because we hadn't heard anything about this. We said, "Oh, really? And what did he do?" She said, "He just kept saying, keep telling them, Brittany. They'll know. They'll come and they'll help you." And we said, "Did he dial 911? And she said, "No, I did that myself. And he just helped me not be scared." I think 2 or 3 nights later, the firemen came to our house and gave us a copy of the 911 tape.
It looks like a silly man, but...
It looks like a silly man.
The tape only confirmed what Brittany knew all along. And nearly 5 years later, she remains absolutely convinced of what she saw that day.
Tell me if you can't make it.
When I told my mom, she did not believe me. And I just said, "This really happened, Mom. You'll have to believe me." I knew what I saw because I saw it for reals.
There absolutely was an angel watching over Brittany. I think there was an angel watching over all of us that day.
Yeah, I love that story. I love that one.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, and again, you know, you look at the girl's eyes, when she's 8 years of age now, that memory hasn't left her, and not in a way that's traumatized her, but they say the eyes are the window to the soul, and you look in her eyes and you can see that she knew what she saw.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
And wow, I don't know, I've heard of 3-year-olds ringing 911 before, or 000 here in Australia, or whatever emergency numbers in their own country.
Yeah.
But for her to actually sit there, like, next to her mother and say, oh, yeah, there's a strange man here in the house, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's a silly man.
Kids don't make up stuff, They really don't.
Yeah.
Wow, I just can't tell you, Mike, that one gave me the goosebumps when I first saw it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah.
Silly man, maybe I should start calling her silly girl,
Yeah.
out of that same respect of what she saw, wow.
Well,
could have been and someone from the family that was passed and appeared as something that they know that she thought would be silly.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable. She obviously felt comfortable. She wasn't frightened.
No, there's no evidence to suggest that she was frightened at all by any of this.
No.
So
no.
But
wow, it's a beautiful, beautiful story, Mike.
I remember my son when he was 3 years of age, or 3 or 4, and we were lying on the bed and we were doing like shadows on the wall.
Yeah.
Mucking around, and like, okay, Mace, I'm gonna go. Mum's gonna brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Time to go to bed. So I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and then all of a sudden, Mason came running out. Oh, Mum! And I'm like, what? I'm brushing my teeth. He's like, Mum, the shadow waved to me on the wall. I'm like, what? What happened? And he goes, the shadow waved at me. I went, something waved at you? He goes, yeah. And straight away I thought it was Granddad, because it was not long before his Granddad died.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, oh, that's just Granddad waving and say hello. Yeah. Just let you know he's there watching you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was fine. But that was really interesting. I mean, he's white. He's a redhead, fair skin, but he was white.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I would have been momentarily as well.
Yeah.
You imagine also that you're in the mirror, you're combing your hair, you put your comb down and the image in the mirror is still combing its hair. I mean, that would... Jesus.
That's right. Wow.
But
and I've never spoken to my son about stuff like that, because I started when I was 25 really getting into things like this, and so I never mentioned anything to him like that. So it was interesting that he come out with that, and that's where I'm like, that was Granddad saying hello.
Yeah.
He's watching you.
Yeah, so, we can't assume unless that girl actually did say his name was.
Right.
It could have been a spirit guide. It could have been a deceased relative coming back. It could have... Remember the show that we saw where the guy got stuck under the girl got stuck under a car and her father turned up?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So it could have been someone like that. Or it could have been an angel.
Yeah.
We don't know. But that girl, it doesn't matter. The fact was, whoever did come had the right intentions to just keep that little girl safe and happy until the paramedics got there.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the whole purpose of the goosebumps that I'm feeling right now. The intention of that person coming was to protect the mother and that little girl.
Yeah.
But what an amazing story.
What's interesting about this one is that the angel, maybe it's for reasons for this young girl to learn. I say he got her to do everything. But remember a few episodes back, the dancer that was in hospital and he was being treated, and it was clearly spirit treating him because nobody recognised the woman who he described. That's
right.
That spirit done everything for him.
Yes.
In this case,
that's right.
The spirit got the girl to do everything for herself. Maybe it was a learning curve.
Can I have a quick minute? I'll explain it to Sue and anyone else that doesn't know. The story was a man, he was a dancer, he broke his leg and he went to the hospital and had to start having physiotherapy 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So he was going to the hospital the first time and they said, you're going in to see Maria in that room. He went in 3 times a week for 6 months until Maria had fixed his leg.
Yeah.
On the last time, he thought, I'm going to take this woman in some flowers because of what she's been doing for me. There was no Maria. the woman who was the physiotherapist had never seen him before. And the great thing was, he's telling his mother about it, and she pulls out a photo of the same woman who was her mother or his grandmother.
Yeah.
You know, so these sort of beautiful synchronicities where spirit does come through and they help us at that time of when we need them to.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to sit here and assume or ask questions, why don't they come to me or why them?
Yeah.
Don't judge.
No.
Because that's so negative. You know, we don't have to accuse others and say, oh, why did it happen to them? Why didn't I see an angel when my car exploded that day or whatever?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because obviously we were going to be all right because, hello, we're now accusing other people of it. We got through it okay. They didn't need to intervene.
Yeah.
Or it's part of our life contract and we did have to die at that certain instance or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We don't have to judge why other people have what's happening in their lives. All we've got to concentrate is whether we're doing the right thing, and if we are true to ourselves, and when these spirits, etc., do come through, are we looking at that as the opportunity that it actually is?
Yeah.
You know, that's the main thing here. You know, they come through to give us that opportunity. Like this girl, she's now out there advertising, I saw this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I was only 3.
Yeah.
But, so she's now spreading that word, filling other people with that faith and hope and belief that something else out there, it does exist.
Yeah.
You know? So good on her for getting out there and promoting what her personal experience was, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, it also, the story does tend to show how fragile life can be with just one slip.
Of course, one slip and you're gone.
You're gone.
You know,
Yeah.
to appreciate every single second that we have with other people.
Yeah.
Well, like
you know?
my mum.
That's right.
On the July, my mum passed about 7 weeks ago, and it was interesting because I was living at a friend's place and I wasn't intending on moving back to mum's, and while I was looking through my documents, I got moved to mum's. And I thought, okay, rightio. I thought it was to do with my flatmate standing on his own two feet.
Yeah.
But 3 days later, my mum died. So, and I knew that by going back to mum's place, because I was only just down the end of the block, I knew just in myself that me moving back was actually about forgiveness and forming a deeper connection with my mum.
Right.
And even though we had a good relationship, it was like, no, we're going to go deeper, and I'm going to take mum on a road trip, going to do all these things.
Yeah.
And I think what I did was energetically release, or maybe I energetically forgave her, and that was her release. Maybe, I'm not quite sure, but it wasn't until that afternoon where I had gone to get mum something to eat because she had diabetes. And, I said, you want something to eat, Mum? She's like, I'm not feeling too well. I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it pain? And she's like, I don't know. She said, it's probably what I ate earlier. And so I found out that with people with diabetes, they don't know that they're having a heart attack. They don't get the normal symptoms. Right. And so within a matter of 45 minutes, I left and went and got, the dinners and came back, and here she was on the toilet. That was it. Right. And then I had to do the CPR, call the paramedics and all that, and they kept performing on her for a good 20 minutes, but I knew that she was gone. And I was quite at peace because having the understanding of, you don't just end here.
Right.
And I was standing in the room going, oh my God, she'd be absolutely horrified, right? Luckily, she's in spirit. She wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. But if she was, like, waking up, she'd be horrified that, she doesn't have underpants on, right?
Can I just tell the rest of the story? Yeah. I went over to Sue's. Was it last weekend or the weekend before?
Yeah, weekend before.
I was in very quickly because I know we've still got some videos. Sue said, come in. It was my first time at the house. I knew Sue's mum. I loved her. Yeah. Okay. And Sue said, come into the bedroom. So I went into the bedroom, and there her mum sitting on the bed.
As
so
she does.
I was sitting there holding her hand, and Sue looks at me because I've got my hand out weird, and she says, "Are you holding Mum's hand?" And I went, "Yeah, she's right here, darling." I said, and Sue said to me, "Does she want to watch the TV? Because she's got a TV and a radio in her room." And I said, "No, darling, she doesn't want to watch the TV today because Bold and the Beautiful's not on because it was Sunday afternoon."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, she wants the radio on." And Sue said, "The radio batteries are dead. It hasn't worked in weeks." So I picked up the radio and it turned on.
Yeah.
The radio turned on. So how gorgeous was that?
So then I was sitting on the bed and I was just tuning, and I'm like, yep, that's what she listens to. And I put it on the windowsill, and then all of a sudden, Linda's relayed the message going, "Thanks, love. Okay, off the bed so I can go lie down and listen to the radio." And I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what she says.
Unbelievable.
So Mum's still hanging around in the house, and she's there to make sure that, you know, everything goes through fine, and because she was quite close, very close to me.
Yeah.
So I'd say she'll be, you know, watching me.
Yeah.
No, of course, because that's what people, you know. Yeah. So it is good that you're here tonight so you can talk about that stuff. You know, we're worried about.
Well, I'll tell you before we move on. I'll tell you. I mentioned this about a year ago when we first started doing the show, and I mention it again because it may help people who perhaps are in the process of losing a loved one into the spirit world. One of the greatest gifts that was presented to me was the circumstance in how my father passed. He had cancer and he was getting on in years, and he said, "Look," he said, "I want to die living. I don't want to drag this out." And he was clearly ready to go. My father had a strong will. If he wanted to live, he would have lived, but he decided enough was enough and he wanted to go out enjoying life. Well, so we saw him through this process, but the gift was that I had the opportunity to put all past wrongs correct. You know, not that we had a great relationship, me and my father, but you know, the things through the teenage years and you know, you get on each other's nerves from time to time.
As everybody does, yeah.
But we had this opportunity to tell each other that we loved him and he loved us, which you forget to do quite often or don't want to do. That's why you hear me say, "Don't send me flowers when I'm dead. Give them to me now." So all I'm saying with this is that if you've got the right perspective, it was a beautiful gift to know that my father passed with a good heart, and his passing left me with a good heart because everything was out in the open, and it was a wonderful experience. So that was all I wanted to say.
Kind of in a way, it was basically a disconnection of that energetic hooks between each other. So him releasing himself and you releasing yourself. There's that forgiveness and that karmic recycle, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Super. Okay.
Right. Who are we going to have a look at now, Mike?
Cherrie Aimee or Cherrie Aimee, a near-death experience, and then we'll have Zena, another listener to the show. She recorded a little spiritual experience she had. But let's go over and have this near-death experience from Cherrie. Here we go.
Here we go.
Was there a feeling of panic at all? You know, like I've died. Oh my God, I've died.
It was more, wow, this is so beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Absolutely.
And was it one of those things where you were above the room? Like, where were you seeing?
It wasn't like an out-of-body experience. I literally was in a whole other realm. So I was no longer in the physical hospital room. I was completely in another realm. I actually felt connected to my family on the other side, and I felt connected to the heavens. So there was no distinction of, okay, I'm dead and I'm in this other world. It was more, I just gracefully walked through this door and made this beautiful transition into another realm.
So Cherrie, I know you said that in the moment, it felt like you did a life review. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's funny because it actually wasn't just a life review of my current life. It was actually a life review of any experience my soul had ever undergone. So, which is so crazy. It was so crazy to me.
Did you believe in past lives prior to that moment?
I didn't think anything. I really didn't even know what a near-death experience was until I got back. So this was all very foreign to me. I had heard maybe of people that had had an out-of-body experience. I did not know what this meant. So yeah, I mean, this was definitely very, very foreign for me.
And do you feel like you got a window into prior lives?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing that I really learned was sometimes we all have like this common reoccurring theme that's happening in our lives, whether it's, poor finances or relationship trouble. I got to learn during my lifetime reviews what that common theme was and actually how to clear it.
Wow.
Because what had happened was it was attaching to my soul during every lifetime.
I'm sorry, but I believe that. I feel like that's part of karma.
Yes.
And that you keep getting the chance to get it right. Yes. And eventually, hopefully you do, and you move on to the next plane.
Yes.
But I really think there's something to that.
Yeah.
The notion of being dead but not dead is confusing to people. And we have a doctor here. His name is Dr. Sam Parnia, a world expert on the science of death and the author of Erasing Death, which sounds like a great idea, Doc.
Of course.
Thank you for being here. So
Pleasure.
how could she be dead but not dead for 90 minutes?
Well, it's a very good question, of course. The reality is that we all have a perception of death. And this goes back millennia, which is essentially that death is a moment. There's a time when you're either alive or you're dead. And the reason we think that is because when the heart stops, you have no more blood flowing into your brain, into your other organs. The brain shuts down immediately. A person becomes lifeless, motionless, and they are dead. Or even if you go back to the French Revolution, if somebody had lost their head, there's no more blood getting into the brain and it shuts. However, what's amazing is that about 50, 60 years ago, we discovered CPR, and we found that actually you can artificially restart the heart or produce a circulation, get blood flowing around the body even after a person has died. And that made our definitions more ambiguous. And what is now even more interesting is that we understand that it's only after a person has died, which makes perfect sense, that the cells inside the body start to undergo their own process of death. So when somebody's heart stops, it's only then that the cells will start to die, and that process takes many hours, possibly days.
How has your outlook on death and life changed as a result of this experience?
I am definitely no longer afraid of death. And that was something that I had feared my entire life.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that that fear of death really prevents you from truly living. And so if you were to know me prior to my near-death experience and now, it's like I'm two completely different people, because I lived pre-near-death, I lived my life very, all my decisions were like based around fear. Fear of what other people thought, fear of what other people would say, fear of not being good enough, or fear of being unworthy. Even though I was successful in my earlier years, every decision was still based upon that. Now I flipped the script. I'm doing everything different.
I love that. I completely believe in that. I think if you're making decisions out of fear in general, you're making them out of the wrong place. I'm so glad you're well. And you've got your new heart.
Yes.
You look amazing, and thank you for telling your story to us. All the best to you. Wow.
There we go. I tell you what, Linda, I bet you don't miss America for all that hysteria when somebody comes on a TV show. Do they do that in Australia? Have this hysteria?
Yes.
Do they? Oh.
Yeah, not as much as like on Oprah or Ellen DeGeneres,
Right.
Yeah. But you've got to remember though, over there they are, in America especially, because hello, I live there, they get very absorbed to what they are concentrating on.
Right.
So if they're listening to a person talking, like if they're truly listening, they really do absorb that story So they do have that emotional connection to what they're paying attention to. You know, and that's how they get their patriotism to, like, the flag and their laws and stuff that they have over there, because they get that energetic attachment to it. Whereas here in Australia, we just have the "you'll be right, mate" attitude, where we don't really pay much attention to other people, which is, you know, one of our fallacies here, because we're not listening to our. Well, no, a lot of Australians don't know about our own constitution.
Oh,
and stuff.
no. Now, our constitution, I even said to Mum, she's 84 before, you know, when she passed, and I asked Mum, I said, do you ever remember our original constitution taught in schools? And she said, no, it's never been taught. They've always kept it hidden. And, you know, it wasn't until, I think it was 1970s, where Gothi Whitlam, great constitutional lawyer, Prime Minister, chucked us onto the parallel laws. So there's the original law with the proper laws, and then there's the corporation, parallel laws. So they basically put us under, let's say, American laws in a way, because basically what happens in America happens here. Or we're the test dummies for there, you know.
And that's what happens over there, where they get so patriotic to what they know. You know, I absolutely respect the Americans. You know, I do a lot of American clients with what I do, and I lived over there.
Likewise,
so I can sort of understand their philosophy on how they do that. Oh my God, they get, you know, they get so absorbed, which is awesome, especially in amazing videos like this. You know, one thing I want to add here is about how she spoke about karma. We keep getting the chance to correct it. And that's exactly right, which I saw when I died in the life review. We do get that opportunity to come back, which is reincarnation, and to redo those lessons that we haven't passed yet, to correct that karma so it becomes like a balanced energy. You know, if we hold on to hate, obviously there's no hate in heaven, so we have to energetically balance that hate into good, you know, on the scale of yin-yang, to create that karma effect. So, of course, people do come back to learn their lessons. So I'm glad that she said it like what she did, because that made a lot of sense to me with my own experience. The other thing about the man, the doctor saying how the body actually takes hours or days to die. This comes into the fact that when does the soul actually leave the body? You know, some people leave the body an hour before they've actually passed away. And they're floating in the room watching the paramedics working on them. You know, I was floating in the room for 45 minutes because it's verified in my medical files that I wasn't in that room when they were working on me. So at that point, they got my heart racing again, but I still hadn't returned to my body at that point. So, and then I went home for like 5 years. When did that happen? Because there's no time. You know, it could be a split second where I've had just this big 5-year experience coming back in. So I like how he explained that with how the body does take hours to days to die, because that just throws that theory that many cannot, they can't dispute it, that every soul with every life that we incarnate is a different experience to the next. We're not uniform. We're not the same when we pass. Some people pass before they die. Other people wait until the body is actually deceased until they leave their soul. But ultimately, where our soul goes, it's all the same, you know? So I like that doctor actually put that in there too, Mike. Yes.
Do you, I mean, I watch a lot of these interviews of near-death experiences and various other things. And there's one I was looking for next week where a guy said he died and he went to hell and heaven. I've just got to make sure that even when we put this on the show, that the hell experience is positive rather than hellish, because we know what hell can be. But in your experience, but this is both of you really, it's my experience that when people have an NDE, that it is life-changing, that they don't fear life anymore. They live their life, and you know, it changes them forever in that respect.
Absolutely, Mike. And that was the biggest thing with me when I woke up in 2001, because, you know, the sheriff came and saw me like a day after I woke up, and he actually said to me what happened on the day that this happened, you know, a couple of days before. And I had to sit there because I couldn't remember it, because it was like it's like remembering what you did in 2014.
Yeah.
What time did you have lunch on the 26th of September 2014? So I couldn't explain it to him. I couldn't sit there with this sheriff and say, oh, well, geez, you're asking me things about that happened 5 years ago, because he would have just said, we need a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to shut up about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable talking about it straight away. I wasn't comfortable coming back here and talking to my family about it, because I knew that I wouldn't be appreciated for who I was going through that. They wouldn't understand it, which is their perspective, right?
Yeah.
When I started jobs, I didn't want to tell anyone there what I'd been through, because they would have just said, you need to go on stress leave right now and get yourself a psychiatrist. So I did hold it in for the longest of times, you know, and I didn't want to talk about it. And I've got to put a lot of thanks onto this one sitting next to me, my mate Sue, because, you know, Sue's known me now for 15, 20 years. So, you know, she's seen the depth now that I'm now talking about with my experience, because I realise now that I had such an in-depth thing that I've got to get this word out there.
Right.
You know, so of course I've got to talk to people now and let them know that, yes, some people do have a hellish experience. Some people have a really great positive experience like myself. But at the end of the day, I thoroughly believe that hellish experiences come from what we hold inside ourselves, that negative emotions that we keep, regrets, grudges, missed opportunities from our lives.
Yeah.
And if we learn to release those memories before we go to our life review, there's a better chance of having a good experience when we go there. So we're not in like that hell loop of replaying all that drama, issue, grudge, other thing that's happened, or trauma,
Yeah.
you know. So we've got to learn to forgive now in this existence. So when we do go to heaven, we do have that good transition and we don't go to that hell experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's basically in a nutshell what I'm trying to get the word out now to people. So it's good that you asked me that about the hellish experiences.
Well, I'll put another spin on it.
What's that?
What about if we're just already in hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
This is hell. You're born, your next minute you're coming through your mother's canal, right? You're in a nice, comfortable little zone. Next minute everything's broken. You're coming out, lots of pain. Next minute you're slapped and you're like, welcome to Earth, welcome to chaos and pain.
Well, you know, the only thing I can say to dispute that is, of course, I know you're sort of kind of half joking. There's a half truth in that, but you know, at this time, with all the chaos that's going on, I would say certainly the three of us here today, most of the listeners, all the awakened people have come here at this time in readiness to sort this nonsense out.
Well,
totally.
Can I just
therefore,
throw a big
it wouldn't be hell.
It'd be no hell.
Can I throw a huge spanner in the works?
Go on then.
Because a lot of people now are asking me about this. Because I did a video about a year ago where I'm talking about our lives on Earth and how they can overlap because there's no time. We can die in 2080, but we're born again in 2060, so there is actually a child at the same time of when we're an older person, which can be multiple, there could be hundreds of Linda souls out there, millions of Sue souls and billions of Mike souls out there, and we're all the same soul, living different lifetimes at the same time. So simultaneously. So, people ask me all the time, is there 7 billion souls? And I say to them, how do we know how many souls there are? Because we can overlap our lives at one time. So someone now might be born to have this Jabberwocky to know what it's like. Someone else, the same soul, comes through as the Mike in Austria, so then he knows what he's going through there. And the same soul gets born as the Sue experience. So she's now living here in Australia doing what she's doing through this as well. So it's not saying that there's 7 billion souls. We're saying that we've got 7 billion lifetimes.
Experiences, yeah.
Is there, so, this is a topic that, I could just talk to this for a whole hour or two. So I won't go too in depth because we've still got 2 videos to watch here. But at the end of the day, regardless of how many lives we've had, regardless of past traumas in this own existence, learn to accept and learn to forgive ourselves for what we've done. And you look at the other person in that perspective and say, what do I need to forgive them for? What did they do to me? What did they do against me? Etc. Because when we come to that peace is truly what we acquire through that life review. And then that transition into heaven, whoa, that's a roller coaster because it's awesome. It is awesome. When we go there.
Do you think, just quickly, also, Mike, what people believe, what you believe you create, and then if you believe that there is a hell, you will see that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I don't believe there's a hell at all, actually.
Neither do I, Mike.
Well,
I don't believe there is a hell.
I don't actually think that there is a place called heaven. It's a state of being. It's a state of consciousness, and therefore hell is a state of consciousness. So you might want to experience a little bit of hell. I don't know. I can't see I would want to, but some people might want to experience that. I was actually reading a while back about something like this with these souls that do go to the hell consciousness, as it were, and even there's guardian angels to say, look, why don't you come with me or step this way and get them up into a higher consciousness level, because apparently some of them, if you're a murderer, a thief, and God knows what else, you might be very comfortable in the hell consciousness because you want to carry on that existence. But so they have angels down there to. This particular story was, he was saying to the robber, you don't have to do this. You don't have to rob this person. Come with me and I'll show you something better. And of course, the person who was about to get robbed must have wanted that experience also.
Yes, that's right.
It's a very complex world.
That's right. Because too many people on the planet are too self-centered with their own existence.
Yeah.
They don't realise that they may be here to teach a lesson to another person.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to say there. Don't think that this world exists all around ourselves.
No.
We're not the centre of the universe. Try and see the other side perspective, because a lot of times we are put into places where we help another person.
Yeah.
It's not always about what we have to learn for ourselves. It's what we're teaching also to others.
Yeah.
That's why they're called lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we're going on to have. Oh no, we did look at. We've still got.
Zena.
We're going to have a look at Zena now, aren't we?
So I know Zena had trouble with Skype. If she is watching, and after we run this, if you want to try and call in and have a chat with us, great. I've edited this down to the nuts and bolts for this interview, but I've got the original, and Zena, explain this to her and to everyone else. So I'm going to, at the end of the show, maybe later on today, I'm going to upload the whole 8, 9 or 10 minutes, I think it was, that where she was speaking. So it gives you a deeper perspective. But a very, very interesting. I'm not going to say anything about this because I don't want to lead you. So let's run this. Here we go.
So the hospital staff wanted to withdraw care. They had an extensive meeting with me, and I was terrified of everything. So I knew what time they were going to withdraw care, and that day was an endless day. I could actually hear the clock ticking, and getting louder and louder towards the time that was going to happen. The night before, when I got home from the hospital, I found a little bird on the lawn. I took him inside and we cared for him overnight, and I heard him really, really sing overnight, and when I got up in the morning, the baby bird was dead. The relevance of that will come to light after the rest of the story. I got to the hospital and the time was drawing near, and so you've got to understand that this little baby looked like there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. He looked perfectly normal, apart from the breathing tube, of course, because he was premature, and I was having a really, really hard time dealing with what was about to occur. They came in, they gave him a needle in his hand, and the cotton ball that they put on him was actually bigger than his hand, and that alone horrified me. Anyway, it was an overdose of morphine. He started to turn blue. So the panic was chronically setting in, but at the same time this was happening, I had a good friend who was also pregnant. I was a couple of months more along than her. She sat with me and held my hand while all this was going on, and the hospital staff said to me, "Open your arms and hold your son." And I was horrified. I was a young girl and I was thinking, I can't do this, I can't do this. And they actually pried my hands open and handed me my son, which was the best thing they could have ever done. I appreciate that every day of my life. They gave him to me and I was holding him as he was dying. My friend was sitting next to me holding my arm, so she was hanging on to me, and as he was dying, he became every age, every race, every gender, and he left through my hands and left me with a knowing and the most perfect calm I have ever experienced in my whole life. So I turned to my friend and I said, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I didn't know whether that was for my eyes alone, what the gift he just gave me, but because she was holding onto my arm, she saw it as well. So I picked up the baby and put him in his cot by a window, and I had the burning desire to open the blinds. So I opened the blinds and there was a little dead baby bird on the windowsill, and it was just all tied in. The synchronicities and the signs just kept on coming, even at the gravesite. My friend ended up giving birth a couple of months down the track, and her baby was born on my birthday. When I got to the graveyard, there was after he was buried, the cross came, right, and it had my name on it, and then there was an empty grave next to my baby's grave, and the name on the grave, we couldn't work out why there would be a name on the grave when there was no baby in it yet, but there was, and it ended up being my friend's last name. So she was still pregnant and she was horrified. But I said to her, no, your baby will be fine, which it was. This experience is for me. So it was the most amazing time of my life and the worst time in my life. But the significance of this was, I always knew, when I was young, I had spiritual experiences. I used to cry when I was a little girl in school for the son that I would lose in the future. I knew, but we seldom prepared for it. So I just wanted to tell my story because we're all linked in the grand scheme of things, and I know this, and I thank my son every day for giving me this gift.
Well, that was one hell of an experience.
Of course it was. And how grateful is it, that we have these amazing people, Mike, who they're just average people, they join our groups. Whoops, I'll just turn this down now. Whoops, just turn this down. These average people like the rest have these amazing stories that they want to share. We've been saying this for weeks. We don't want to do the celebrity ones anymore. We want normal people out there, the you and I people. Come on in and tell us your stories about what you've done. So anyone that does watch this, please contact Mike. Let him know that you want to have a story. Because it's beautiful to hear real people's stories about these synchronicities, angels, ghosts, near-death experiences that they've had. Come and be on our show. This show only exists because of you, the people that watch us. So if you do want your story out there so that other people know what you've been through, please don't feel that there's any judgment or accusations because, hello, we don't do that in this group.
No.
We do not hold any sort of negativity or animosity towards anyone. Everyone is welcome to share their own perspective and their own experiences. So, Zena, if you're watching this, I am so proud of you for sharing that story. And synchronicities can come in many ways and forms.
Maybe if you're watching this and people want to ask you questions, they can use the comment box. As I say, we can't. For some reason it's just come up. It's for friend mode only, and nothing's showing. I've got no friends, Linda. That's why. But this was it sort of ties in with what you were saying a minute ago. About there doesn't necessarily mean there's 7 billion souls, but 7 million experiences. And here, this babe had all these experiences of different colour, different age, different creeds.
Yes, that's right.
So I wonder, was this a lesson or an experience for Zena to experience solely?
Well, it could be to open her eyes to what is out there. I don't know how many experiences she's had in her younger years, but maybe she's one of these people who they wanted her to wake up and to experience this. And look at her now, she's advertising it here on our show. So other people will hear her story and they'll go, oh my God, I've lost a child myself, or I've lost a parent or a pet. This, I've lost a baby bird. This gives me hope that bird, in that synchronicity of the energy moving around, maybe there was a reason why things did happen in my life the way it did for Zena as well. So we can't say what are the ripple effects that come from people sharing their stories. We'll never know, Mike. There'll be some people may naysay it and say, oh, that's a load of rot. Other people will say, oh my God, I needed to hear that today. Thank you so much. I didn't realise how much I needed that today. So I always say, whenever you do get negative feedback, don't listen to it, because there's always naysayers. There's always critical people out there. Stay true to yourself, and if you have an experience, please let us know so we can share it. Okay?
And it's a very, very brave thing to have done. It isn't easy bearing your soul like that to public. So
Yes.
God bless you,
That's
Zena.
right.
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I totally get about the synchronicities with the birds, because when my father died, there was a magpie that turned up at his funeral, but it was always turning up whenever something would come up about Dad. And my mum, kookaburras.
Oh.
So, yeah, and I've had kookaburras out the back, but a lot closer.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, she's here. And that's when I got Linda over. I said, Linda, can you come and have a look to see if Mum's still hanging around? Because, you know, there's kookaburras here, and that's Mum's favourite bird. And, yeah, so it was confirmed, yeah, she's still hanging around. So, yeah, definitely birds. I don't know what it is with birds, but a lot of people do actually relate, you know, the death of people with birds that just seem to arrive or appear.
Yeah.
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 And isn't it funny that we see their feathers as signs of hope when we are going through diversity or trauma or personal issues?
Yeah.
You know, look for those signs, it's usually feathers that we find.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is something definitely associated to birds.
I'll have to try and see if my dear wife will come on and talk about her experience with when her mother passed with I think the eagle or the hawk that just stood outside the bedroom window where she was and wouldn't leave until he was noticed. There's a bit of a story to that. I wonder if she'll have the time she can come on and tell us that experience. So, I mean, you know, to me, what this all shows when we do this type of work is that the other world, the unseen world, is a vast, 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 beautiful world. That the rules over there do not have any significance to what goes on over here. We've got this such a narrow concept here of what life is that it's, you know, unimaginable for some people how wild it can be over the other side.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right, because they can't fathom it.
No.
You know, some people will never, unfortunately, fathom it, because there's so many people just consumed by this three-dimensional world.
Yeah.
They don't have to search out answers. You know, there are people out there who have a comfortable marriage, job, home, children, family.
Yeah.
They don't have to search out for answers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's only when we do face adversity, personal traumas and other things that happen in our lives that we do start to critical think this and say, is there more out there than just this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm happy that I'm on the side of the fence with you, Mike, that we get to be a part of this. You know, it's beautiful what is unfolding, because it's only going to get better in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, after the next 6 months or 12 months, it's going to start getting really good for a lot of people again. And, you know, that's what I'm getting told. And I have to believe it, because she's been so accurate with all the other stuff that she tells me every day.
Yeah.
You know? So we've just got to be those riders of the storm and just hunker down, stay true to ourselves, be the open person to receive, but allow others to be who they are in the same instance, and just hope everybody well. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, I think we are getting to this spiritual awakening now where we do have to really focus on, first of all, keeping our own well-being. Because the reason I'm saying this now is because I don't channel that often. I'm a medium, but I don't get asked to channel in that sense often. And it's been about a week now where they're saying, come on, do this. And they want me to talk about, now more than ever, you've got to look after yourself, your health, what you eat, be really as self-sufficient as you can, and not rely on anyone, actually, as best as you can. But the important thing they want to say is health. And obviously this is there's a reason why they're saying this now, because they can see what's coming. This is not a time in world history where we want to be sick and end up in hospital. You know,
one of these centres that they're building around the globe.
Yeah. So that's coming maybe next week. I've just got to finish building my chimney first before I do anything. So, but anyway, let's.
So we better get on to Lisa, darling,
Yeah,
because we're running out
of time. So let's have a look at Lisa Lanno. She's a medium. I didn't edit this. I put this straight the way through. She's on a talk show in America. Let's see what you all think.
Have you ever wondered what happens to your loved ones when they pass away? Joining us this morning is spirit medium Lisa Lanno to connect with someone live on the air. So nice to have you here, Lisa.
Thanks for having me
And
back.
Christy Haley's from Palmer, and you will be connecting with a loved one with Lisa today. Now, Lisa, you are going to be connecting with, I'm not going to give anything away, I don't know anything, so with one of her loved ones. And you know, you've already talked to her a little bit and validated some information.
Yes, due to time constraints, we have to make sure that we can connect. And we have connected with her grandmother. And this is a very, very dear woman. I call her the backwards lady. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Does this make sense? Okay. Even the ones that we validated. I call her the backwards lady because she tells me things backwards. She went from when she was ill to when she was healthy. Now, the first thing I felt was her arms and legs laying in a hospital bed. And she's very, very heavy. Not physically heavy, but feels like lead. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and I wrote some of these notes last night and this morning. Okay. She said all her energy is drained.
Yes.
But, and she's not like this now, you do know this, that she's okay now, but we need to validate. And she said that her energy was completely drained, but I don't feel pain, I feel discomfort in the chest area. Heaviness?
Yep.
Okay. She said it was my time. I just got old, but I needed to say goodbye to you. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing she said to me was, you were there. So, you were there, but you weren't there?
Yeah, physically I wasn't able to go.
But she said goodbye to you.
Yep.
Was it Skype or
no,
on the phone?
You could just feel her around.
Okay, okay. I mean, I wasn't being sarcastic, I was being serious. Because she said you were there. I want to ask you, was there somebody there who kind of looked like you? Because she said, I saw you through her eyes.
My mom.
Your mom?
My mom.
Okay. And I said, I just wrote that down today. I saw you through her eyes. She said, don't remember me weak in bed. And I do happen to know that Christy is a nurse. She said, don't remember me weak in bed. Remember my fuller figure, is how she puts it.
That's how I remember.
You do?
Yeah,
okay, well, I'll tell you how she remembers you. She remembers you as a little girl with a ponytail. And she's cutting something on the counter, and it's doughy.
Noodles.
Noodles?
My grandma's famous noodles. Don't take a bite of them, though, until she's done.
Until they're done? Okay.
You learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Is there something with sugar cookies as well?
We used to always make sugar cookies
It's the sugar
together.
cookies.
Yeah.
When I went outside to get some more validations, I said, Grandma, can you show me something? And she let me smell sugar cookies, and I saw them baking. But I see you under the counter and then growing up, so she's showing me that you baked sugar cookies with her for quite some time.
A long time. We'd eat half the batch before it was even cookied.
Oh, well, that's how she comes to you. She also said, okay, she's happy, and we don't want to get into anything too personal on television, but she said she's happy that you've moved on from that. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. She also wants me to tell you to speak up. I don't mean here.
Yep.
Speak up. Things, and I'm going to ask you just if you understand what this means. Things will turn around eventually. Do you understand? I don't feel that it's going to be as quickly as we'd like things on this side, because they have a lot of time. But she said eventually things will turn around, and she's by your side. It's the perfume that you're going to smell, and the sugar cookies. The sugar cookies are going to be one of her signs. Do you have any questions for Grandma?
Just to know that she's by my side is awesome.
She's by your side. You smell the perfume all the time. And you...
Awesome.
And the sugar cookies. It's okay. It's okay. She's with you. She loves you. She also talks about you as being her caregiver.
Yes.
So with
she was mine and I was hers. Yeah.
Okay.
She,
now, physical caregiver as well. Did you do some physical things for her? Help her bring her things?
I always was taking care of her. We lived 2 hours away, so as much as I could get to see her.
I see you with bags, like CVS bags kind of thing.
Oh, of course, we brought her all kinds of good.
Yeah.
And bags in from the garden.
Oh, from the garden?
That's probably,
Okay.
yeah. That was the fun part.
But I see you bringing her, and it's not medicine, it's fun stuff.
No, it's fun stuff.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to ask you really quickly, Christy, we're just about out of time, but how does this make you feel?
It feels great that she's around me, you know, just to know that she's there.
And all of it made sense. Yes, that's wonderful. And we're just about out of time, but Lisa, you do ghost investigations at no charge of any location in the Valley, so you'll be doing a lot next week, and people can learn more about those.
Facebook me or my website or absolutely.
Anywhere you want to go, you can go. Well, thanks to Christy. I'm sure that was really touching. It was very touching for us to watch as well. Lisa, thank you for being here to
Thank
share
you
your
for having
gifts
me.
with us. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And if you would like to view this segment again, all you have to do is log on to mymassappeal.com later today.
There we go. So, another medium. Interesting. Actually, you know, due to the time constraints, that isn't a bad idea. You do the reading off air and take the notes, and you can just confirm all this in public. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I've never heard of this medium before, by the way.
Yeah, well, as we always say, Mike, you know, there's mediums and there's psychics, and there's psychic mediums. Not many people get the same information, the same as all the other psychics and mediums and psychic mediums out there. I like, when I do my readings, I like asking names, because as I write down the name, I get information about them. Like 36 would be their age, or, oh, I'm seeing they're a mechanic. I'm seeing cars, they must work on cars. So I like writing down the names. Other people like seeing photos. I read photos too, by the way. But, you know, we all have our way of receiving our information. And her way of receiving information is that she likes to be in private, talking to a guide, and saying, hey, what's this about? Okay? Which obviously you can't do live on air. So I really like that she was honest with how she operates as a psychic or a medium or a psychic medium. And she's actually out there doing this. You know, it takes a lot of guts to do a live reading. I've never personally done one. I don't know about if you've ever done a live reading in front of the camera like that, but, you know, I always say that you know, I'm always concerned if something confidential comes out. You know, where they may not want that information released live on air to 50 million people. But that's just how I operate. Obviously, you know, I like my one-on-one readings. But she is an amazing woman. I liked how she talked. I liked how she explained. You know, I was talking to my guides and I heard this, so she's explaining how she's receiving her information. Like this lady I've got. She talks, I listen, I repeat. So, you know, Sue and I, we play a game. You'll attest to this. We play true yes and no games. Sue asks me a question. You know, we do this. How often do we do this game? The yes and no game.
Well, yeah.
How often do we do it? We're doing it every couple of days. Where Sue says, hey, talk to your mates and ask them if this is going to be working. You know?
Now, I realise that, you know, people would ask me questions. As they're asking me questions, I'd just get the answer. So I said to Linda, I went, look, this is what happens with me. You know, we do it like this. And she's like, okay, ask me questions. So it'd be like, right, I just ask questions. She'd go, yes, no, no. You know what I mean? Without thinking. Because
I
it's a matter
hear
of
it.
just fine-tuning what it is that works for you, really.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've all got to find our own niche in the abilities that we have. Nobody does them the same.
No.
You know, some people like using psychometry, so they'll touch the ring that their grandmother wore when she was alive, so then they connect to her that way. You know, there's a lot of different ways that people have it, but the ultimate message of this is, trust how you do it.
Absolutely.
Don't rely on how somebody else does it. Don't look at John Edward and say, oh my God, that's how I've got to be.
Yeah.
Don't look at like Sylvia Brown or this lady, Lisa, that we were just talking about. Don't look at how they do it. Do it the way you do it.
Exactly.
And then you'll start getting those confirmations.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mike and I are always available. You know I don't mind getting my emails of a morning. You know, I'm sure Mike doesn't mind people asking him some questions as well.
No,
if
that's
there's
fine.
anyone out there. You know, because the whole reason why we do these shows, guys, is to not just teach you what's out there. We want you to be a part of this and to grow, because Mike and I are still growing with it as well.
Yeah, always.
And, you know, we need to keep that trust and that peace within us during these hardships that we're going through.
Yeah.
You know, we're in for a couple of months of very, very rocky roads.
But you know what? Always remember, if you don't get a good feeling about something, you listen to it. That's your body wisdom.
Yeah.
That's your body intuition telling you. Don't doubt it. Don't think anything of it. It's your body just giving you that instant intuition.
Yeah.
And I have had ones in past say, oh, you know, that's not your gut intuition. You know, you listen to your higher self. It's like, no, man, that's my gut. That's my body that I'm connected to.
Yeah.
And then when I fine tuned with the, you know, connecting with the, you know, higher self, I would ask the question anyway, and it would just be a double confirmation of my body. So I never questioned my body.
Right.
Yeah, and that's right. You know, we've got to start trusting our body and our mind more.
Yeah.
You know, if you hear something on the news and you think, hey, that's not right, go and research it and find out if it's not right.
Yeah.
You know, don't just trust what we're hearing on the news these days, guys.
Yeah.
Because, you know, lies and deceit, she told me all about this in 2001.
Yeah.
Karina, my great-great-great-great-grandmother.
Have you spoken to people about the Human Pendulum?
No.
All right. Here's something for your listeners that
Okay.
not quite sure, right? This is something simple you can do. Excuse what I'm wearing.
Here she is. She's up now. Look how short. Look, I'm sitting down and she's nearly as tall as me. You know,
So basically, you know, for people that are not quite sure or don't feel confident, what you can do is just, you know, just take some nice deep breaths and just visualize yourself and just ground into, you know, put your energy through the ground into the core of the earth and bring it back up, you know, just visualize it a few times. I won't go right into it, the grounding. But, you know, a good thing to do is, oh God, like this is like a before and after shot here. Okay, so you make sure that your body's nice and straight and you're just relaxed, feet just nice, shoulders apart, right? And then you just ask your body, okay? You ask for a yes. So your intention is to use your body as a pendulum to get a yes or a no.
Okay.
So you say, right, give me a sign for a yes. And your body will just start to just naturally go
like a pendulum.
I went forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just double check. Give me your answer for yes. Right. Do it again. Rightio. Give me an answer for no.
Yeah, you go backwards.
Right, backwards.
Yeah.
And if you really want to double check.
And it may not be the same for everybody. You may go forward for a no. You may go to the right for a no.
Yeah.
But you use your body as a pendulum.
Well, it's usually
we're running out of time now.
It's usually forward and back. But if you really want to double check, right? So yes and no. Am I a dog? No.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Ask a question that you know you're not, and then that'll double chance. So if people are just a little bit confused, just get centered, ask some questions, yes or no. Listen to your body. Ask a question that you know you're not, and then just get that confirmation from your body. So that's a nice, easy way. Just to start off, just listen to your body.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Mike.
Yeah.
We had Sue on for a change.
Yeah.
You know? Sorry to do that to you because she only rang me half an hour before we came on.
Oh,
It's all good.
Hope you didn't mind. I just thought I'd just share something simple.
Yeah,
Anyone
no,
that's
perfect. Well done.
listening, we're running out of time. So, the message for tonight, guys, is absolutely stay true to yourself. Trust your gut. Go with your own instincts. Keep developing yourself. If you're in isolation or lockdowns anywhere on the planet, don't think of it as something bad happening. Think of it as an opportunity. What can I do now that I'm in this position? Because everything is given to us as opportunities.
Yeah.
We don't have to run and hide. I'm certainly not. Sue's certainly not. We can still function as human beings, even knowing if anyone's outside of Australia is getting hammered at this point with so much stuff. What else? Well,
yeah, but you know what? We got it. We're doing it
good.
the quiet way. We're doing legal letters.
That's
right.
right.
A lot of people are doing legally.
Yeah. So, anyway, guys, I know Mike, he gets busy of a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 9:15 p.m. here. What's your last words for the night, Mike?
Well, I would say for you guys in Australia, go to bed peacefully. Go to bed with a positive thought. Go to bed with the thought of how you want this world to be, because we do know what you think you create. Now, the world we want will probably take more than just your thought. It will take the collective. But just see the world how you want to see it. And in the very least, you'll have a beautiful night's sleep. But rest assured, you'll be doing more than that. You'll be doing more than you will ever know. So keep in the creative joy, love energy, and out of the fear energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Never give up and keep moving forward and keep pursuing your purpose no matter what.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're here in Brisbane, Australia. It's 9:15 p.m. on Wednesday. If you do watch this and you think, damn, I want to watch these shows live, please tune in 7 p.m. Brisbane time, which is 10 a.m. for you in Austria, mate.
11 a.m. at the moment.
Oh, God, daylight saving time, it always drives me insane. So it's 11 o'clock. You just go to Google and say, what time is it now in Austria? And it will tell you, and you think, okay, he's on in X amount of time because it's 11 a.m. Or ask Google, what time is it now in Brisbane, Australia? And it will tell you, so then you know when 7 p.m. Brisbane is. Come on live, guys. Be a part of the action of what we're trying to create here. Raise up your vibrations by watching some of these amazing videos. A big call out to Zena. Thank you so much for your input tonight, darling. I so appreciate your honesty and your rawness in that message. So stay tuned next week, guys, because same bat channel, same bat time. We'll be here from Australia. So wherever you are, good morning, good evening, or good night. Love yous all. Stay in your love. Stay in your love.
Take care. Be
See
safe.
ya.
Stay safe, peeps.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Okay.